If you're over 40 and you're not doing pull-ups, you are losing upper body strength, muscle mass, and developing poor posture faster than you think. The good news, you can reverse all of that. You don't need a gym, you don't need fancy equipment, and you don't need to have done a pull-up before. I'm Goose, and in this video, I'm going to give you the exact step-by-step progression to go from 0 pull-ups to something or a number that you'll be actually proud of. So stay with me, because the first thing I'm going to show you is the mistakes that are keeping most people stuck at 0 reps. First though, let's talk about what is actually happening to your body after 40. Now, from around the age of 35, the average person loses between 3 to 5% of their muscle mass every decade. Okay, that's a significant number, and it accelerates if you're not actively training to prevent it. Okay, your grip gets weaker, your upper back starts to round over, poor posture, you know what I'm saying? And your shoulders lose their stability. Okay, pull-ups directly target every single one of those issues. Now think about it, okay? Our ancestors, they climbed, they hung, they pulled, and they did that every single day. Not as a workout, it's just part of how they lived, yeah? The pull-up is one of the most natural, fundamental human movements there is. And the fact that we've stopped doing it regularly is a big part of the problem, okay? It's why many of us are starting to fall apart. Now I hear this a lot. Pull-ups are for young people, okay? My window for doing pull-ups has closed. And that's simply not true. I'm going to prove it to you in the next 10 minutes. But first, I need to show you why most people never make progress on pull-ups. Because it's not about strength, it's not about age, it's not what you think. Here are the 3 mistakes that keep most people stuck. Mistake number 1 is starting with the full movement before you've built the foundation. A pull-up isn't just an arm exercise here. It requires grip strength, scapular control, core stability, and activation of the lats. Okay, all working together at the same time, synchronicity. If even one of those is weak, the whole thing falls apart. Jumping straight into full pull-ups without building that foundation first is like trying to build a house without laying the groundwork first. It just doesn't work. Mistake number 2 is ego-driven programming. This is where we hammer out as many reps as fast as possible with whatever form that you can manage, okay? Your body does not get stronger doing this, okay? It just gets better at compensating, and you reinforce or build bad movement patterns. And the longer you keep doing this, the harder those patterns are gonna be to fix. And not only that, but your risk of injury increases dramatically, and injuries will ruin any progress you think you've made. Number 3 is ignoring your scapula. This one's huge, okay, especially for those of us over 40. If your shoulder blades aren't engaged correctly before you even start pulling, you're loading your shoulder joints in a way they weren't designed to handle, okay? Over time, that will probably translate into pain and discomfort. That pain and discomfort will stop you from training, which will stop your progress. So now you know what not to do, okay? So now let's move on and let me show you the actual progression, and it starts with a movement that most people skip entirely. Okay, so we're going to look at 3 stages. Each one builds directly on the last. If you skip a stage, you'll regret it. So just trust the process, because it works. Stage 1, dead hangs and scapular pulls. Generally, 1 or 2 weeks at this level is enough. So starting with the dead hangs, a dead hang is exactly what it sounds like. You hang from a bar or a set of gymnastic rings with straight arms, completely relaxed. No pulling yet, just hanging. Your shoulders will lift up around your ears. Personally, I prefer to use rings for dead hangs and pull-ups, simply because from a biomechanical perspective, they allow my arms and shoulders and everything to rotate naturally, but a bar works just fine if that's what you got available. Just use what you have. What hanging does, it decompresses your spine, it builds your grip strength, and it teaches your body to trust the bar, and it gets you comfortable with that movement. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with 3 sets of 10 to 15 second holds. All right, and if 10 seconds feels really hard, cool. Stick at that level and just try and progress each week with a little bit of extra time. Okay, that's your starting point. Eventually though, I want you to build up to being able to complete 3 sets of 30 seconds. From there, we add scapular pulls. So from your dead hang, without bending your elbows, all you're gonna do is you're gonna squeeze your shoulder blades down and together, okay, and you'll feel your whole body lift slightly on the bar or the rings if you're using rings. All right, that is scapular, that is your scapular activating. 3 sets of 5 to 8 reps. Essentially, weeks 1 and 2, you're going to be doing this as your workout, but beyond that, you're going to continue to use this, use these 2 exercises as your warm up, okay, before every session, even months from now when you're doing full pull-ups. Stage 2 is negative pull-ups. So generally this is weeks 3 to 4. Here's something most people don't know. You are significantly stronger in the lowering phase of a pull-up than during the pulling phase. That means that you can actually improve your pull-ups by going down even if you can't go up yet. You're going to jump up into that top position with your chin above the bar, and you're going to lower yourself nice and slowly, somewhere around the 5-second mark from top to that bottom dead hang position. Okay, that's 1 rep. What we're going to do, or what you're going to aim for, is 3 sets of 4 to 6 reps. That is a slow and controlled movement, and it's going to build the exact muscles you need to be able to reverse that movement and start pulling upwards. Just bear in mind that negatives can be very fatiguing on your central nervous system, so it's really important not to overdo it. So stick to the sets and reps outlined in the plan that we're going to talk to soon, all right, and just monitor fatigue. If fatigue builds, gas off a little and drop it to 2 sets. This will get your fatigue under control while still allowing you to make progress and get stronger. Now I want you to pause the video right now and try a dead hang for me. Just 10 seconds, find a bar, an overhead beam or something, and just hang for 10 seconds. Go ahead, do it now, get after it. I want you to notice that feeling in your grip, your lats, and your shoulders, okay? That is the foundation of everything we're building from here on out, okay? So get familiar with that feeling. Stage 3, assisted pull-ups. Generally, this is weeks 5 to 6, but again, it's just gonna depend on your progress. For assisted pull-ups, okay, we're gonna be using a resistance band looped over the bar, or you can rest one foot slightly on an elevated surface like a chair, a box, something along those lines, okay? The goal here is simple. Reps using that full movement, full range of motion. Starting with that dead hang at the bottom, and then chin over the bar at the top, and control all the way up, all the way down. Each week, you're going to use slightly less assistance, okay? So you're going to change to a lighter, thinner resistance band. Or if you're using a chair or a box, you're just going to reduce the amount of input that you're driving up through that foot. You're gradually removing the support, okay, until the day comes when you're actually able to pull yourself all the way up and lower yourself all the way down with no assistance at all. And that day will come, trust me. Now, most people in their 40s who have never done a pull-up can hit their first clean rep in 6 to 8 weeks following this progression. Consistent effort, following the right approach, and that's all it takes. Right, so those are the progressions, but here's the thing. Having the exercises is only half the answer. If you don't structure your training correctly, you still won't make progress. So let me give you the exact weekly plan. Now, people overcomplicate this, so I'm going to keep it really simple, okay? Because simple is what works. 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, for example, 10 minutes a day, no more. Weeks 1 and 2, you're going to do 3 sets of dead hangs, starting with holds of 10 to 15 seconds each. You're going to work your way up though to 30 seconds. You then, once you finish those dead hangs, you're going to move over to scapular pulls, okay? And we're looking for 3 sets of 5 to 8 reps. 60 seconds rest between each set. You're going to stay at this level until you can meet all of these standards, yeah? Then we're going to look at weeks 3 to 4, or generally what's 3 to 4. Again, if you have to stay a little bit longer in that first phase, that's fine. Okay, so weeks 3 and 4. The dead hangs and the scapular pulls from the previous couple of weeks, we're now going to use those as a warm-up, okay? But we're going to drop it from 3 sets to 2. And then we're going to start our working sets that are going to consist of three sets of negative pull-ups of around 4 to 6 reps, lowering in 3 to 5 seconds. Again, stay here until you can meet all of these standards. Weeks 5 to 8, we're going to do the same 2-set warm-up as before, but now we're going to move on to the assisted pull-ups, and we're going to do 3 sets of 6 to 8 reps. Okay, and each week, try and reduce the assistance. Okay, so go to a thinner, lighter resistance band, or if you're using a box, apply less lift through that foot. Okay, and you're going to stay at this level until you've thrown that resistance band in the corner and you can complete regular pull-ups without assistance. Congratulations, you did it. Okay, you can now incorporate pull-ups into your future training programs. Now, written down, that training plan fits onto half a page, and that's exactly the point, okay? Our ancestors didn't follow complicated programs. They moved their bodies in simple, natural ways, and they did it consistently, repeatedly over time, okay? And that is what built them real lasting strength, okay? It's simple. One more thing, and this thing matters more after 40 than anything else. All right, rest and recovery are not optional, okay? They are part of the program. So you're gonna be working 3 days on, but those 4 days off are for recovery, okay? This is not laziness. This is just how your body adapts and gets stronger, okay? The stimulus happens at the bar, the actual growth happens in between, okay? So when you're resting, when you're sleeping. So don't skip the rest days. Now, at the start of this video, I told you that if you're over 40 and not doing pull-ups, you're losing upper body strength, muscle mass, and your posture's turning to shit. I hope by now that you can see that that doesn't have to be your story, yeah? You've got the 3 mistakes to stop making, you've got the 3-stage progression, and you've got the exact weekly training plan. So you've got no excuses. The only thing left is to start. Not next week, not when you feel ready, today. So go find yourself a bar and do a 10-second dead hang. That's step 1. And just stick with the program. That's it. And if you want to keep going, if you want to stay strong and healthy and prove that your best years of fitness aren't behind you, then hit the subscribe button, because this is exactly what I'm going to keep putting out. Simple methods, real results, no nonsense. Because you know what they say, if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. Thanks for watching. Now go find that bar.